The morning we arrived at the cabin felt like the first deep breath I'd taken in years. Mist hovered gently over the lake, turning the water silver as the sun climbed slowly into the sky. The world was quiet. No emails, no meetings, no investors calling every 5 minutes. Just peace. Sarah sat at the edge of the wooden dock, her legs dangling over the water. In her arms was our 6-month-old daughter, Emma, wrapped in a soft pink blanket. Emma giggled every time a duck paddled by, reaching out with her tiny fingers like she wanted to grab the whole lake. "Look at her," Sarah laughed softly. "She's already in love with this place." I watched them from the porch, coffee warming my hands. After 10 brutal years of 16-hour workdays building my tech company from nothing, I'd finally sold it. This cabin wasn't a vacation. It was our new beginning. The dock creaked gently. The lake was smooth as glass. For the first time in my adult life, everything felt right. Then a voice shattered the calm. "Hey, get off that dock." The sound was sharp, angry, and completely out of place. A woman stormed down the hill toward us, her steps fast and aggressive. She was in her late 40s or early 50s, short blonde hair pulled tight, face red with fury. Across her bright yellow shirt were bold black letters. "HOA President." Sarah looked up, confused, tightening her hold on Emma. "Excuse me," she said gently. "I said get OFF," the woman screamed. "That dock is private property." I set my coffee down and walked toward them. "Ma'am," I said calmly, "I think there's some confusion." She spun toward me like I'd insulted her. "No confusion," she snapped. "I am Karen Morvison, president of the Lakeside Homes Association. This lake belongs to us, and you people don't belong here." The way she said "you people" made my stomach drop. Sarah stood slowly, keeping Emma close. "We own this cabin," she said softly. "We just bought it." Karen laughed. Not amused, not surprised, just cruel. "You bought the Henderson place," she sneered. "That sale didn't include lake rights. That old shack never had them." "That's not true," I replied. "Our deed." "I don't care about your fake papers," Karen shouted. "I've lived here 20 years. I know every real owner, and you're not one of them." Emma began to cry. "Please," Sarah said, rocking her gently. "Don't yell around the baby." Karen stepped closer, her face inches from Sarah's. "Don't tell me how to behave on MY Lake." I felt anger rising, but I forced my voice to stay steady. "Mrs. Morrison, we're not trespassing. This is our home." "Not for long," she snapped. "I'm calling the police. And my husband. And the HOA board. You'll be gone by tonight." She pulled out her phone and began dialing, speaking loudly enough for us to hear every word. I knew then. This woman wasn't confused. She was dangerous. And this was only the beginning. The police came that afternoon. So did neighbors. A crowd gathered as Karen stood at the center, directing everything like a general. She smiled when the officers arrived, the smile of someone who believed the world always bent for her. But documents don't lie. The officer reviewed our deed, the survey, the title insurance. "These appear legitimate," he said. "They own this property, including lake access." Karen exploded. "That's impossible." The neighbors began whispering. Some looked uncomfortable. Others, especially her husband, glared at us like we'd committed a crime just by existing. That night, Sarah cried. "Maybe we should leave," she whispered. "For Emma." "No," I said. "That's what she wants." But Karen didn't stop. Tires slashed. Windows smashed. Garbage dumped on our dock. Every time police arrived, Karen just happened to be nearby, shaking her head sadly. "Such a shame," she'd say. "This used to be a nice neighborhood." I installed cameras. 2 weeks later, the footage showed everything. Karen, her husband, 2 neighbors, all vandalizing our property in the dead of night. They were arrested, and then released. That's when Karen snapped. The next evening, Sarah sat on the dock with Emma, watching the sunset. I was inside cooking dinner. I heard shouting. Then I heard the words that still haunt me. "Get off my lake." I ran outside. Karen stood on the shore, holding a gun. "Put it down," I screamed. "This is MY property," she yelled. "I have the right to defend it." Sarah backed away slowly. "We're leaving," she said. "Please, don't hurt my baby." Karen raised the gun. A slip, a scream, a gunshot. The bullet tore through Sarah's shoulder and into Emma's tiny arm. They fell into the water. Blood spread across the lake. I don't remember screaming. I only remember jumping. Sarah woke up under harsh white hospital lights, the steady beeping of machines filling the room. Her voice was weak, barely louder than a whisper. "Emma, where's Emma?" I leaned close, gripping her hand. "She's alive," I said. "She's in surgery, but the doctors say she's going to make it." A single tear slipped down Sarah's cheek. "Thank God," she breathed, before her eyes closed again from exhaustion. I didn't move from that hospital corridor for hours. My clothes were stiff with dry blood. My wife's blood, my baby's blood. I kept replaying the sound of the gunshot in my head, over and over, wondering how someone could look at a mother holding a 6-month-old baby and still pull the trigger. When a surgeon finally came out, his face was tired but gentle. "Your wife will recover," he said. "She'll need months of physical therapy. Your daughter," he paused, "she's strong. We removed the fragments, but she'll carry scars on her arm for the rest of her life." I nodded, unable to speak. No child should ever have scars from a bullet. No family should ever live through something like this. Karen Morrison was arrested that night, not for trespassing, not for harassment, but for attempted murder. She screamed as they put her in handcuffs, still claiming she had been defending her property. Even then, she showed no regret, no fear, only rage. While Sarah slowly recovered in the hospital, I made a decision. I wasn't going to respond with anger or violence. I was going to respond with the truth and with the law. I hired a private investigator. What he uncovered was worse than I ever imagined. Karen Morrison had been running the Lakeside HOA like her personal empire for over a decade. HOA money had quietly paid for her vacations, home upgrades, and credit card bills. Rules were invented whenever she needed them. Families who challenged her were harassed, fined, and pushed until they sold their homes and left. At least 3 families had fled the lake because of her. But the most shocking discovery was this. Karen didn't own a single piece of lakefront property. She lived uphill, far from the water, with no legal lake access at all. Everything she'd ever claimed about her lake was built on intimidation, not ownership. Then came the document that changed everything. The investigator handed me a faded folder containing the original land deed from 1952, along with survey maps that had never been updated when the area was developed. As I read it, my lawyer leaned forward slowly. This is extraordinary," she said. "The deed didn't just grant lake access. It granted full ownership of the lake bed itself. All 47 acres of Crystal Lake belonged to the property I had purchased. When the land was first divided, the original owner sold off cabins around the water, but he kept the lake. Years later, he sold the lake and the main cabin together as a single property. That property was now mine. Every dock, every boat, every ripple on the water, including the dock Karen Morrison had claimed as hers for 20 years. Legally, she had been trespassing the entire time. My lawyer warned me this would cause chaos. There are dozens of families who believe they have permanent lake rights, she said. Some may try to challenge this. They can use the lake, I replied. I'm not taking it away from innocent people. I only want one thing. She looked at me carefully. Karen. Yes, I said. Just Karen. A certified letter was delivered to Karen Morrison while she was out on bail. It informed her that she was permanently banned from Crystal Lake, from swimming, boating, fishing, or even touching the water. Any violation would result in immediate arrest for trespassing. My phone rang less than half an hour later. This is impossible, Karen screamed. You can't own an entire lake. Actually, I said calmly, I do. I've lived here for 20 years. I have rights. You have the right to remain silent, I replied, and I suggest you use it. She hung up. Word spread fast. Neighbors called, worried, angry, confused. I told each of them the same thing. They were welcome to continue using the lake exactly as before. This wasn't about punishment. It was about accountability. Karen fought back with everything she had. She hired multiple lawyers, filed claims, accused the HOA of ownership, claimed adverse possession, challenged the deed. She lost every single argument. The judge's ruling was clear and final. Mr. Chin is the sole legal owner of Crystal Lake. Karen stood up screaming in court, accusing the judge of corruption. She was held in contempt and removed from the courtroom in handcuffs. 3 months later, her criminal trial began. The jury watched video footage of weeks of harassment. They heard testimony from neighbors who described her racist remarks. They saw photos of Sarah's injuries and Emma's tiny arm wrapped in bandages. The verdict didn't take long. Guilty. Today, Sarah is healing. Emma laughs again, though she startles easily. The lake is quiet now, the way it was meant to be. Karen Morrison never touched the water again, and she finally learned the truth. The lake she tried to control was never hers to begin with.